Okay, hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita live stream of November the 5th, 2021. Alita versus Steppenwolf. Who wins? Where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gunham, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, the Muskogee Creek. I am in Linville, North Carolina for at least the next couple 2 weeks. And we're going to have a couple other folks join us here in a little while. So we're going to have a really good discussion about this, about Alita. And in case some of you don't know who Steppenwolf is, basically he's a bad guy, from the DCEU. And there you see him. He's a character, I guess, that wants to get in the good graces of Darkseid. He's been exiled. He's very powerful. We're going to get to that in just a little while. And he's everything that a villain could be, I guess. In some ways, he's probably a little bit like Thanos, I guess. He's not quite as powerful as Thanos, but particularly if Thanos has any of the Infinity Stones. But he's a pretty big guy. He's like probably 3 meters tall himself. So he's big, strong. He has a potent weapon, which is an axe. And any of you folks that have actually seen either the theatrical release of the Justice League or the Snyder Cut, which I like the best. I like the Snyder Cut the best. So we're going to pretty much focus on Steppenwolf as we saw him in the Snyder Cut. So anybody, if you want to get on the stream itself, and come on and talk about Alita, you don't have to talk about Alita and Steppenwolf. You can actually talk about other topics of Alita. We are pretty wide open here, and I'm putting the link in the chat there. So if you want to come on, I see Jay a Nice Days out there. Jay, if you want to come on, you're certainly welcome. And most definitely Ash Blackwind, if you want to come on, you're certainly welcome yourself. So, well, let's get into it, I guess. Looks like I'm going to be solo here for a little while, which is okay. I can do that. So anyway, let's chat about Steppenwolf a little bit, because I'm not sure. A lot of folks know who he is. Now, if you've seen the Snyder Cut, you know who he is. But Steppenwolf basically he's got superhuman strength. He's a very powerful individual. He's very durable, just like a lot of these villains that we've talked about on some of our other streams. And he's pretty fast. Now, he's not, say, real fast like, say, Alita is, even in her doll body. He's probably on the same order of speed as, let's say, Thanos, in terms of how fast he can move. Now, Thanos certainly has a space stone. If he has that, he can teleport, from one place to another, or at least he can go from one place to another. Whereas Steppenwolf can't do that. Steppenwolf does have very good reflexes that very much like, I guess, Thanos does. So he's pretty much on par with him there, and certainly has very excellent stamina. So he is a superhuman. So he's not just a big guy, a big brute. I mean, he's fast. He's actually pretty smart, and he oversaw, I guess, or is responsible for tracking down the 3 mother boxes which Darkseid wants to use to maybe conquer Earth, and he's after the anti-life equation and that kind of stuff. Steppenwolf is Darkseid's uncle. Now, in case you don't know who Darkseid is, we talked about him, I guess, several months ago. Darkseid's similar to Thanos in a lot of ways. As a matter of fact, Thanos is a knockoff of Darkseid, to be honest. And Darkseid is like a ruler of a vast army. He's actually, he has at his disposal, the Omega effect, and he himself is certainly probably the most powerful being in the DCEU, and he is actually the ruler of the planet Apocalypse. But anyway, Steppenwolf is his uncle. Um, he's also a general in Darkseid's army. I don't know if he's the general or not, the commanding general, because he was exiled. At least that's the kind of the storyline that was in the Justice League Snyder cut. He is an organic being. He's not a cyborg. He's not a robot or an android. He's definitely an alien. So he's in that regard similar to Thanos. And just like Thanos, if he gets injured in any way, he has to be treated because he is a flesh and body being. Steppenwolf does not have, at least DCEU Steppenwolf, and I don't know a whole lot about Steppenwolf from the comic books. He looks a little different too from the comic books in here. But I do know that in both the theatrical release and in the Snyder Cut, he doesn't really have any kind of inherent weapons. And welcome, Jay, a nice day. How's it going, man? I think you're muted, possibly.
I saw you all lonely there. So usually I wouldn't, but I saw you just sitting here manning the fort all by yourself. So.
Oh, that's okay. Just as long as I get to talk about Alita, I'm fine, man. But welcome aboard, man. I don't know how much you know about.
Let me try to get an earbud, and then I'll be with you in a moment. Let me.
Okay, sounds
good.
Yeah. So as I was saying, Steppenwolf doesn't have any inherent weapons. For instance, Darkseid, he has access to the Omega effect. He can shoot these beams out of his eyes. Alita has that inherent plasma weapon. Superman, can kind of shoot heat vision from his eyes. So a lot of superheroes and a lot of the villains do have some inherent weapon, but Steppenwolf does not. Steppenwolf is an excellent melee fighter, and we're going to see that coming up in just a while, where how he takes on several different fighters at the same time and gives them all that they want. He is a very powerful being, and as you can see, his armor, is quite resistant to attack. So I mean, he's got that going for him too, and he also what makes him where he won't be denied. What's the biggest thing? It's kind of like Alita's determination, but with Steppenwolf, he was exiled from the planet Apocalypse, which is where Darkseid rules, and he wants to get back in Darkseid's good graces. And to do that, he wants to try to conquer Earth, and he's discovered the anti-life equation, and of course that gets Darkseid's attention, and he tells Steppenwolf, if you get this for me, you'll be welcome back home, or something along that order. So you can see there, Steppenwolf, he's pretty scary looking too if you look at him. He definitely is. He's someone to be feared. He also had at his command when he went after Earth to conquer them. He had a lot of parademons, which are also Darkseid's army. But now many of those parademons certainly Steppenwolf commands too. And basically, what they're beings. They can be humans, they can be aliens, they can be anything, but they get converted over to Darkseid's army, not to be confused with the dark side of the Force, obviously, but with Darkseid's army, and they're almost like zombies in a lot of ways, and they're except they're faster than zombies. I mean, they're not slow moving like that, but they can also fly. They have wings, so they're a pretty potent fighting force. And Steppenwolf has command of considerable number of these parademons that he's going to try to conquer Earth with by getting the mother boxes to synchronize and then of course delivering the anti-life equation to Darkseid. So, and that's basically who Steppenwolf is.
Yeah, I have no information with regards to
Yeah.
Steppenwolf, so I'm not sure what I can contribute to this entire thing.
Well,
But
it doesn't matter. You can contribute a lot on Alita because we're going to be talking about her extensively too. And welcome.
don't people compare Darkseid with Thanos often? Often,
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
Darkseid is DC's version of Thanos.
yeah. Actually, Thanos was actually a knockoff of Darkseid. Darkseid came first, and then Marvel, created Thanos to be a lot like Darkseid in a lot of ways.
Okay.
They're pretty different. In some ways, like Darkseid's actually he's kind of like a godlike, you know, character.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Thanos is he's an eternal he's almost like a god. He's not quite a god. And if he doesn't have the Infinity Stones, he's not. I mean, he's still powerful, but he's not. He's not on Darkseid's level.
Mm.
So, but yeah, he is very much Darkseid's very much DCEU's Thanos. So I mean, he's a pretty interesting character himself. And welcome
Speaking
aboard.
of,
Yeah, go ahead, Angelus. I was just about to welcome you.
thank you. But speaking of who's ripping off who, don't forget the what are some of the other ones that just came to my mind? Deathstroke and Deadpool.
Yes, yeah, they're very similar in a lot of ways too. I don't know which one of them came first. See, I haven't read. I think I've read 2 comic books and 1 graphic novel,
And lots of manga.
and a whole bunch of manga. I've read that. Yeah, definitely I've read a whole bunch of manga. But in terms of the comic books, like either from Marvel or DC, I haven't read anything. I mean, I read Watchmen, I guess. My youngest stepson gave me the graphic novel for a birthday present once, and I read it. It was pretty good. And I read a couple of DC comic books. One called Justice League War, which does have Darkseid attacking Earth. That was pretty interesting. And another one was called Earth 2, which the Flash, Hawk Girl, and Green Lantern were the only remaining superheroes after this one villain kind of killed all the other superheroes, including Superman and Wonder Woman. So they had to take over. But anyway, that's the only comic books I've read, in the past. Good Lord, probably 50 years, I would say. But now I do kind of see this stuff on YouTube, and I kind of do some research on Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, but that fandom, the wiki fandom, and that kind of stuff. They got all kind of good information on that. So, and of course, I know much more about Steppenwolf from the theatrical release of the Justice League and the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, I always liked Deathstroke. He seemed, although they both wield katanas, both Deadpool and Deathstroke, I always found them to be quite different in terms of character. I mean, one has that the regeneration capability, but the other one, I always felt Deathstroke was a very smart fighter, and he always gave the Teen Titans a very difficult time. If I remember.
Oh yes, and he's one of Batman's nemesis too. He gets in fights with Batman frequently. From what I gather. Now I haven't read a lot about that, but I've seen some stuff on YouTube where he gets in these fights with Batman. So yeah. Yeah, Deathstroke. You remember they had that little post-credit scene after the theatrical release of the Justice League where he's not confronted, but he's recruited, by Lex Luthor to be in. I think Lex Luthor said, "Hey, they got the Justice League. We need a league of our own," which was kind of funny, kind of after the movie, with the girls' baseball stuff. That's pretty cool, but. Yeah, I like Deathstroke too. He's a great character.
Yeah, I found them to be very similar to Batman, except that they're both kind of very close to being a hero and an anti-hero.
Yes.
Except that Batman sides a little bit towards the hero side, and Deathstroke sides a little bit towards the anti-hero side.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, also Deathstroke. Well, there was that one post credit scene, I guess, where Batman and Mira and the Flash and some others, after Darkseid supposedly had conquered the Earth, and they were going to take Darkseid down. And actually, Deathstroke was teaming up with Batman and the Flash and the others, because they were about to fight Superman, which was going to be a big challenge for them, I guess. The Joker was there and all that stuff, So if anybody hadn't seen the Justice League Snyder cut, I highly recommend it. And the theatrical release, I mean, I enjoyed it, okay, but I was kind of disappointed in it. I thought there was some holes in it, but we're not going to go into that. But it was entertaining. I mean, for sure. So and of course Ash Blackman says, yeah, Darkseid is a lot scarier than Thanos in my opinion. Because I think he's just more powerful. Than Thanos is.
Yeah, I remember that laser sight. That was pretty menacing because it would like bounce around until it found its target.
Well, it'll chase its targets. It's almost like homes in on its targets. There was one scene in Justice League War that a friend of mine gave that to me some years ago when I was watching the DVD, and Darkseid, shot these two beams out of his eyes at Superman and the Flash. And the Flash outrun the beams, but Superman didn't quite outrun the beams, and he got captured, all that stuff. But
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
It's not Darkseid who Alita has to fight, or that would be a very difficult battle, I think.
Oh yeah, I
don't think Alita could beat Darkseid.
Well, she could in her Imaginos body because Darkseid. Now it depends. If you believe that Alita, which I do, I always say that Alita has the ability to run at relativistic speed.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because of that one story when she was in her Imaginos 1.0 body, and then of course I just say, well, if you're connected to the Singularity and the Melchizedek, and you got the Imaginos 2.1 body, you can run as fast as you could in the first body. Now I've had some folks say, "Well, wait a minute, that's kind of like after the retcon and all that stuff." So okay, all right, we could argue about that, but it is in the manga, that she can, or as Angelus would say, the manga, that Alita can move at relativistic speeds. So we're going to get to that though.
It doesn't come. And you can sort of extend it to Steppenwolf as well. So I thought I was going to deviate from the stream, but in matter of fact, it actually runs parallel. But versus Darkseid as well. I mean, as good as a tactician as he may be, as much of a combat experience as he might have. Excuse me for a second.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, and it just occurred to me, like I said, she's connected to both Melchizedek and this Jupiter's supercomputer.
Yeah.
So, like, she's got the raw power and the reflexes and the natural affinity for combat, but she's also got, like, for lack of a better term, the computing power of those two supercomputers.
Yeah.
So, drawing from that Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw, where the bad guy in that one sort of had that like quasi cyborg ability himself when it comes to combat, or hand to hand close quarters. Like she'd be able to pick up on not only his tactics in terms of feinting, in terms of how strong he is or his limits or ceilings, but she'll be able to, like on the fly, like as combat progresses, she'll be able to pick up on these little nuances, like when he lets his guard down, if he has any tells, as good as he might be in hiding them. And this goes for like Steppenwolf as well. As good, powerful as he may be, if she's connected to it, she has all that Like,
Well, you bring up a really good point in the sense that if she taps into that computing power of both Zeus and Merlin,
Yeah,
then I think she could actually beat Rula at her game because as much as Kyrula has the ability and the experience to be able to be precog, I
yes,
mean, Alita can literally model every possible probability of where the
yeah,
opponent will move
yeah.
and move towards that attack with the highest probability. So she could probably get a precog that may be even more powerful than
Well,
Kyrule.
let's go ahead and get to Alita then, because I got her coming up next, and the next two slides we can really get into that. But here's and we did a stream on this a couple of weeks ago. Where Alita, I think, was fight. Who was that? I can't remember Angelus who we had her up against there. It might have been Thanos, but anyway, she in her doll body, as I said before, her doll body. The term doll body is really kind of a. I think it underestimates her abilities, as a fighter and all that. Because you see that word doll body, you say, oh, just oh, she just got a little doll body, she's just a little girl, she can't fight, this stuff. And as I always bring out, is that she literally beat the crap out of those three cyborgs in the alley, and two of them were armed, and she wasn't. She just had just her ability, Panzer Kunst, obviously, but she's pretty powerful in that doll body. Now she's obviously not as powerful as she would be in her berserker body or her Imaginos body, which we're going to get to those a little bit. But she's strong, very strong in this body. We also had the discussion whether or not she's faster than humans. We had that discussion too. I think Jeff and I had that little discussion. But if she is faster than all humans, I don't think she is. I think she may be faster than most humans. And when I say that, I mean like 90%, But I don't think she could say outrun like somebody like Usain Bolt. I don't think she could outrun him. But she is fast. There's no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, she's going to be faster even in this body than Darkseid is. So that's going to be something going in her favor. And of course, she has excellent reflexes and stamina. She's got that cyborg body. Now she doesn't have that self healing quality, from the nano machines that she has, with the other two bodies. So if she gets injured, or as we saw when Garishka, chopped her up, that she has to be repaired, put in a new body, whatever. Now the big thing that I guess Do Not Stand By brought this up a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a couple of months ago when we had her up against Thanos. She's got that antimatter microreactor heart. That right there is potent. Okay, that's going to give her a lot of power. Probably more power than Steppenwolf's going to have at his disposal. But she doesn't have any inherent weapons here. She does have Panzer Kunz, and we all know our girl, don't we? She has a determination that can't be beat. So anyway, that's Alita in her doll body. Now in her berserker body, she has superhuman strength, and in this body, this is an order of magnitude strength greater than she has in her doll body. She's also very durable, but with this body, she's got that rapid subconscious self-healing capability. So if she get like when Garishka punctured her with her grind cutter, she healed within 5 to 10 seconds. She was healed. And it wasn't something that she had to do, like she had to get out a screwdriver and start working on herself. She didn't have to do that. She's really fast. Now in the I guess in the movie, I was able to, and I did a video on this. I calculated her speed based on what my assumption of the length of the factory floor was, and how wide it was, and how many Centurions and stuff like that. I estimated her speed to be at 125 miles an hour, or 200 kilometers per hour. Now in the manga, she can run at supersonic speeds in the berserker body. And I can't remember, Jay, or you, or probably Angelus could probably tell me better, but I think I remember her being able to move up at least at Mach 6 or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was extremely fast, in this body.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact speed either, but it
Yeah.
was so fast that she could see she had the same sort of power as Quicksilver did in the X-Men movies, where she could actually see projectiles coming at her at a slow speed. So you know better than I do what the typical speed of a bullet is, and she could literally outmove those. So
yeah. Well, in her next body, we're going to bring up her Imaginos body right here, but not at this point. It's going to be
oh, that's right. This is the Berserker body.
Yeah, the Berserker body's fast now. I mean, she can move at supersonic speed, which is way faster than Steppenwolf's going to be able to move. So if she's in this body, or definitely in her Imaginos body, he's going to be up against it big time. Because he can't move that fast.
Yeah, in the movie, I remember Alita was telling Hugo that her sensory reflexes have improved with this. And if you think about the doll body, what's interesting about the doll body is, as you mentioned, people think, oh, it's a doll body, but it literally is a standard cyborg body, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's actually a pretty decent cyborg body because Dyson Ito spent so much time putting so much of it into his daughter's body that it's actually a pretty darn good body. And what's interesting is if you go to the DVD for Alita Battle Angel, and those extra stuff that came along,
yes,
including the fall. There was one that talked about. I think it was Zapan who was narrating it about the advantages of being a cyborg. And one of them is, of course, even in a doll body, you're not like skin and flesh. You're literally hard cord. And so if you get punched by even a doll body cyborg, you're going to be in a lot worse situation than if you get punched by a human, right? So and the speed at which you can actually move depends upon how fast the sensory perception in that robotic body is, right? If we go into techniques, every robot body goes by what you might call what they call technically a PID loop, right? The proportional integral differential, and that determines how fast that and accurate that robot can move, and presumably, considering it's Dyson Ito, who's one of the best cyborg manufacturers in the world because he's from Zalem, I would presume that he gave his daughter a pretty darn good body, and so probably the reflexes in the doll body is pretty good, but that's nothing compared to the Berserker, because the Berserker was made for war, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so I would think that the Berserker has tremendously high reflexes, and so it's just a matter of, once your biological sensors like your eyes noticing something, how fast can your body respond depends upon the reflexes of the actual cyborg body itself, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here and even much more in the Imaginos body. Before we get into that, though, I want to welcome Dan. How's it going, Dan?
How's it going, everybody?
Hi, Dan.
Real good. So,
Danny boy.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Isn't there a chain or a shop or something like that called Denny or Danny Boy?
No, Denny's.
No, Denny's. Yeah, don't eat there unless you want food poisoning.
They got good breakfast.
Yeah,
they do have good food, but for some reason, everyone I know has gotten sick there.
Oh, really?
But the food is good.
I've never gotten sick there.
We have a Taco Bell here in Australia, though.
You got what now, Angelus?
Taco Bell here in Australia.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
My condolences.
You know what we have here in the U.S., at least here in Florida? I don't know. I've never seen this anywhere else, but we've got like a fast food Taco Bell-like restaurant, drive-through and everything, but it's like Australian food. And I don't even know what Australian food is or how it's different. But, I don't know. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
What's it called? Crikey Bell?
It's like Aussies or something. I think it's owned by Outback. It's literally like a Taco Bell because it's got like the drive-through and everything, and on the inside's kind of designed like a Taco Bell, except it's like says Aussies or something like that, and like Outback in the little subtitle. It's really weird. It's like burgers and stuff. And I'm like, I guess that's Australian food. I mean, whatever.
Oh Lord, there it is. Yeah, you showed
Yeah, I
us
always
this.
wondered if Outback
Oh, I have?
do
Oh, okay.
Australian food.
Yeah, so that's here in
Yeah.
Australia where we drive
Oh,
on the
I've
left-hand
eaten a
side.
Taco Bell. Now we don't have any around here, and I don't recall seeing one in Denver either. We certainly don't have any in Linville, North Carolina. So I think there may be one in Boone, though. There may be one of those. So I don't know. Boone's about 20 miles north of my house here. So yeah,
Oh, you're not missing much, Creep.
yeah, probably not.
Except for
Well, anyway,
chalupas. Chalupas are great. The rest of Taco Bell
that's
is
true.
and Baja
Okay.
Blast.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
chalupas are okay.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to bring it back to Alita now, boys. We don't want to make this like the food channel now. So anyway, getting back to Alita, she's got that once again, just like before we saw in the doll body. She's got that antimatter microreactor heart, and this body, not only is she faster, much stronger, but she has this this kind of able to manipulate herself, subconsciously to heal herself and that kind of thing. And she's got a plasma weapon. Now, you think about somebody that can move at a minimum of 125 miles an hour, or 200 kilometers per hour at a minimum, but probably can move at supersonic speed, and they got a plasma weapon. Oh boy, are you in trouble if you fight that person. You're in big trouble, because you're not. It's going to be hard to contend with them because of their speed. And of course, she's got that Panzer Kunz, which what I like to tease Den with. It's kind of like Muay Thai for cyborgs. So that's what that one is. And of course, just our girl is going to have that determination. I don't care what body she's in. She's
So the
got.
question is I don't know Steppenwolf enough, but is he durable enough that if Alita hit him with a plasma blade with the strength of the berserker body, can running at him at Mach speeds, can he actually
You're way ahead of me.
that?
Yeah, you're way ahead of me. I got a slide coming up on that.
Oh,
one.
okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. This is wide open here. We don't follow any agenda. But yeah, well, yeah, he that armor is pretty durable. It is. It's not impregnable though. So but it's pretty tough. We're going to see that a little bit later. So anyway, that's our girl right there, in a berserker body. Now, in her Imaginos body, it's a different outcome altogether because she has an order of magnitude strength even greater than she has in the berserker body, which is just to me freakishly outrageous. I mean, and Dan and Angelus have heard me talk about this a couple of times, and I think Jay, you probably saw that video. But in her berserker body, I've calculated that she could curl 800 pounds one rep, and I may be low on that because I went back and looked at it, saw how she was holding the gun. And I said, "Holy crap, she's even stronger than that." But that Gatling gun, or Gatling
Well,
cannon.
if you recall, in the Imaginos body, it was 1.0, not 2.0. You remember that giant gear that she lifted and tore out from that suicide center?
Yep.
She walked into that suicide center and tried to kill her, and she ripped it apart and she walked out with that gigantic. That gear must have weighed
in the original
several
manga,
tons.
Yeah. But that was the Imaginos 1.0 body too, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, holy crap. This body here, I think, is stronger than that. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm going by the fact that she's connected to the singularity, and she has at her disposal Melchizedek. She's networked in with that. I can only assume that Imaginos 2.1 body is just like a lot more powerful than Imaginos 1.0. But, that's Creaky's assumption there. So,
Yeah, I can't remember where she showed her level of power in
She's
Imaginos
fighting Toji.
2.0, with the exception of she would do those electromagnetic punches that will literally
Yes.
rip everybody apart. But I don't know what the actual strength level of her 2.0 is.
Yeah, well, she, and Dan's correctly pointed out too that in this body right here, she's got almost Dragon Ball level power. Almost. So
Dragon Ball level
yeah,
power is
hey, yeah,
in
yeah,
a completely different league.
yeah. It
than
is. It is most
I
definitely.
mean, God Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alita wouldn't even stand a second with
No.
God Goku. God
No.
Goku could
Yeah.
destroy
God Goku would
universes,
be
not just
way.
planets.
He'd be way too much. I think. I
Yeah.
agree with you. Anyway, Dan and I have been having fun watching that too. So, but anyway, getting back to Alita here, she has advanced nanotech on this body too, and the same thing she can self-modify, and that's subconsciously, of course. She got this 2.1 body, I think, when she was fighting Toji. She had the 2.0 body, and she got obliterated, and then came back. Here's Kunstler. And she came back, and as she had, that's where she was connected to the singularity and to the end of Melchizedek. So anyway, that's another story there. She still has that plasma weapon, and she can actually manipulate lightning. So I mean that's that's terrifying. That I mean you're going to fight this person, you don't know, that whether or not you're going to get hit by lightning before you even get a chance to throw a punch or a kick at her. That's one of the things. And of course she knows Panzer Kuntz all along and has that. Our girl still has that determination. And one thing I know everybody on the stream has heard me say before, this is probably my favorite version of Alita because she's got that tail. I like that tail. So, that's just a cat Lita. I kind of like that. Although I'm a dog person. So anyway, that's kind of Alita in her three bodies. Now, it's not going to be as difficult on this one as it was with Thanos because, really, I guess that Steppenwolf, he's only got like one level of power, except when he's unarmed. He'll have two levels of power, of course. But oh, wait a minute. Welcome, Kunstler99. How's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Cool. So anyway, with Alita versus Steppenwolf, just like we did with Thanos, we got to come up with some rules of engagement because fights can get pretty damn unpredictable. So if we're going to try to analyze this, we probably need to come up with some guidelines here just to have fun with it. Otherwise, it's going to be chaotic as crap. So we'll try to put some guardrails on this guy. So anyway, the way I got it set up is that Alita's going to fight Steppenwolf in her doll body, her berserker body, and her Imaginos body. And she will have her plasma weapon and her Damascus blade when she's in her berserker body and her Imaginos body. Okay. Now Steppenwolf, he has this gigantic axe that his thing is pretty freaking heavy, I guess. But when he fights Alita in her doll body, he's not going to have that axe. He's going to be unarmed when he fights her there. Now, when he fights her in the berserker body or the Imaginos body, he's going to have his axe. But that's pretty much going to be the extent of the upgrade to his power. He'll have that axe, but that's it. And of course, we're going to go over 3 fights, and it's going to be basically either movie or manga Alita. In other words, a doll body, berserker body, or Imaginos body versus the DCEU version of Steppenwolf. Now, there are some other versions, obviously. Another one's in the comic book is quite different, but I'm not familiar enough with him, he looks more human in the comic book, but I don't know much about him. So, but we're gonna stick with the Snyder cut version mostly of Steppenwolf. Okay. Now, before we get into them fighting, we need to kind of set some things up here because, some of the questions like Jaya brought up, is that armor, tough enough to withstand a, plasma weapon, stuff like this. So we have to go over some fights that they've had, both of them against other opponents, so we can kind of gauge, how. Now they're from totally different universes, but we have to try to get things a common frame of reference as best we can. So with Steppenwolf, or rather Alita, we'll start out with her, I guess. She had 3 fights with Grishka. She won 2 of them and she lost 1. Okay. So the main thing about her on this one is her determination. It kind of played a role here. But here's a the where she cleaved his arm off in the alley. She is in her doll body, and Grishka, he's a big guy. And I think Steppenwolf would take Grishka. I don't think Grishka could beat Steppenwolf, and he might even have trouble beating Steppenwolf even with the grind cutters. He might. I'm not sure. I don't know if that grind cutters would penetrate that armor or not. It may, But Alita beat him 2 out of 3 fights. And of course, when she fought him with that plasma weapon, when she had that fight didn't even last 10 seconds. I mean, after she recovered from being punctured by that grind cutter, the whole fight lasted less than 10 seconds. I mean, it was over. She dispatched him very fast. It wasn't even a challenge. Because she was so fast in that berserker body that there was no way Grishka could even hit her. Even with the grind cutter or his fist or whatever. He just couldn't do it because she's too fast. And too nimble. She jumped over his arm. And then she did that fast. I mean, she wasn't like she had to grab hold of something and sling herself up in the air to jump over his arm. I mean, she just jumped over it, and it was quick, And then, of course, when she fought those Centurions, now when she went into the factory the first time, and when Ito went into the factory, there were 8 Centurions. But when she went into the factory to go after Vector, because you had to count the Centurions before, in front of her, and behind her. There were 12 Centurions in there at that point. So the only thing I can assume is like Vector, according to the novelization, he put everything he had at the front of that factory to stop Alita from getting to him. So, but anyway. She took out all of those Centurions in 15 seconds, and they didn't even come close to hitting her, and that's where I calculated. And that now she was moving, jumping, changing direction, swinging her blade. She was doing all this stuff, and even with all of that extra time built into it, had to jump like 20 to 30 feet in the air to go after the last Centurion. She was still moving an average speed of 125 miles an hour, based on my estimates of different distances and stuff like that. So, I mean, she can move a lot faster than that. There's no doubt about it, and of course in the manga, she can move at supersonic speed. But she literally took out those Centurions with almost no effort, all 12 of them. I mean, it was like they didn't have a chance. I mean, they'd shoot at her and she'd miss her. She'd be somewhere else by the time they shoot at her or something like that because she was that fast.
Yeah, Creek, I'm sorry, I have to sign off.
Okay.
Something came up, but a couple of comments before I sign off. One, with regards to her doll body, I'm wondering... how does Alita compare with the Teen Titans Cyborg in fighting ability with her doll body? If they're about equivalent, then how does Cyborg compare with Steppenwolf?
Yeah.
And another thing is the difference between Cyborg, I would say, and Alita and the doll body might be her Panzerkunst. And so what level of Panzerkunst do you expect for the Alita and the doll body? If it's the first few chapters of Alita Battle Angel or Battle Angel Alita, it may not be all that much, but if it's the last few chapters of Last Order, then she is far more powerful in her Panzerkunst as well. So,
Well, just a couple of things about that. Number one, I think in her berserker body, she's more like Cyborg than she is in her doll body because I think Cyborg, he can fly. He has that. He also has like a plasma cannon that he can shoot.
Mm,
And of course, Alita in the doll body doesn't have that.
mm.
And but they're similar. Now there's some differences too. But I would also say about her Panzerkunst in her doll body and her berserker body, the doll body, she probably has the same command of all the techniques in the doll body that she would, at least mentally, that she would in a berserker body. But her berserker body, as Ito said, she was her core was designed to interface with that berserker body, which meant that it was more, I guess you would say, consistent, more, I guess, synchronized, if you want to think of it, with her core with the berserker body. So I would think, even though her mental command of the techniques, that she learned in Panzerkunst would be probably just as good, in this body, she can execute them better because her core is designed for this body. Whereas
Yeah, I agree with that. The only thing is again coming back, what Panzerkunst did so evolutionary as she goes along down the story, right?
Yeah.
She becomes stronger as she fights Jashigan. She becomes stronger as she fights Toji. And so depending upon which version of Alita you take, even with the Panzerkunst alone, you might have a different Alita, because if you take the first few chapters of the Alita and forget even the body difference, if you just go by the Panzerkunst alone, the latter Alita will literally rip the original Alita apart.
Oh, I agree.
Relatively easily, just by her Panzerkunst. And you notice that just because of the fact that her Panzerkunst was so powerful by the time she got to the ZA championship that she could literally destroy Q Tsang, who was able to destroy Zex relatively easily. And Zex was a lot more powerful than the original Alita. And so it depends on which version of the Panzerkunst I think you're talking about. But anyway, I gotta go. Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, good talking to you, Jaya.
Yeah, Jay, you have a good one,
Dan.
man.
I actually have a question for Dan that eventually I would like to see if there's a debate between you and Cranberry, is who is stronger, Goku or Sailor Moon? Because that's a long time debate that's been going on forever. And I don't know which is. They're both insanely strong. So I always wondered about that. Anyway,
the ultimate answer, really quick. How long has Sailor Moon been that strong? Not very long. She don't know how to use it as well as Goku does. Bam.
That may be, but
it doesn't matter if you have a rifle and I got a pistol. If I know how to use my pistol better than you know how to use your rifle, I still win the gunfight.
That may be.
Well,
I don't know. I mean,
depends on what
Sailor Moon's the one character who could you could literally, she will literally resuscitate herself and bring herself back to life from
and she'll keep dying.
Yeah, but I don't know. They both can destroy universes, so that's.
Well, I think
I don't know.
I would think it depends on what version of Goku too. I think.
Yeah, and which version of Sailor Moon? You're absolutely right about that.
Well, remember, Goku did fight a universal character in Zamasu who became the universe himself, and Goku since transcended that even more. So.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm sorry for keeping you.
But my argument for Sailor Moon is the cosmic form can literally take every energy from every matter in the universe. And the bigger the universe, she could actually scale her powers with that, because the bigger the universe, her powers goes up and can destroy that size of the universe as well.
Sounds like the Spirit Bomb.
Yeah, exactly. Aren't they very similar, which is very unusual thing considering how different the cartoons are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Talk to you guys later.
All right, Jay, have a good one, man. Okay, well, anyway, just to continue what Jay was saying there, I think Alita's Panzerkunst, certainly she gets more powerful with it, but I think each body she gets as she goes along, I would say is more compatible with her core, than the previous body. Particularly the difference between the doll body and the berserker body. I mean, the doll body was a good body, and no problem there. But like say, it was when she, the system interfaces, in her berserker body with her core are going to be much more in tune with each other than it would be with her doll body. So, and then of course that coupled with the fact that she gets more and more powerful with Panzerkunst as she goes along, makes her a living terror, is what it does. So, and
I'd like to pick Den's brain here, and keep on topic at the same time. How much of Alita's combat capability, if you want to call it that, in terms of her progression, how does the fact that she's a former amnesiac, so she's sort of remembering it, or like her muscle memory is sort of coming back, I guess, if you want to say, versus the fact that she's going through different bodies and each body is progressively more powerful than the last. So, like, I'd imagine her capabilities within that body would get larger, and then she sort of has to maybe adapt or take into account what she can do in this new body that's more powerful than the previous.
Well, here's the thing: muscle memory is a misnomer. Muscle memory it's all neurological connections in your brain. It's physical pathways created in your brain. So the fact that her mind is being transferred from body to body will help her retain a lot of her abilities. Now, there is something that she does have in common with Goku and the Dragon Ball universe, and the fact that when she does transfer to different bodies, she has to get used to it and learn how to use that body. Creek, you saw this when Captain Ginyu took over Goku's body. He couldn't do shit. He was like, what the fuck? Because he doesn't train, you know what I mean? And when Alita took over, got into the Imaginos body, she had to learn how to use that and its abilities as well. But her base fighting skills still stay the same. I would just say that it's just like adding to your library and learning new techniques. You know what I mean? We're all familiar with an axe kick, but you might never use an axe kick. And then one day you might see Andy Hug in K1 kickboxing use an axe kick in a very specific way. And so you decide, you know what? I do mostly Muay Thai, but maybe I'm going to add the axe kick to my repertoire, and you practice that, and boom, there you go. Now you've got something. Now you've got another weapon, another way to attack an opponent. You know what I mean? I think that's really what's going on with Alita.
Yeah, I think, to your point too, I remember when I started karate, and by the time I got the black belt, actually brown belt, I guess, I had no clue what a roundhouse kick was until I went into a tournament. And I learned real fast what a roundhouse kick was, and I incorporated that, even though it wasn't part of our style, Kenpo karate.
Yeah.
I still incorporated it. And of course, my instructor, he encouraged us to do that. He encouraged us to adopt new techniques and stuff like that. So
that sounds weird to say. Talking to modern, I know I'm not calling you that, Old Creek, but it sounds weird to say talking to more modern practitioners like David and I, saying that a round kick was something that you had never done before. But just to let everyone know, karate, taekwondo, those kinds of styles, their round kick is very different from the round kick that's very common today. The round kick that we most commonly see these days in like Muay Thai and kickboxing and MMA is the Muay Thai round kick. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And the round kick that you commonly see in like taekwondo and stuff like that and karate is more of a snap kick. A lot of ways they teach it is to chamber your kick as if you're going to shoot out a front kick, and then you turn your hip over it and snap the round kick, as opposed to the Muay Thai round kick, which starts laterally, starts horizontally. It starts horizontally. So I just wanted to clarify that really quick. There is a difference in saying that. Doesn't mean that you didn't know something crazy.
But that's okay though. I didn't profess to know anything even back then, But the thing, what my point was that, I adopted that technique, because it was kind of like you were saying a while ago. You might not use an axe kick, or you might even not have a clue what it is until you see it, and you say, "Holy crap! I'm going to start using that." Depending on the right situation, of course. Jeff, you're really getting a lot of bleed over here. I might have to mute you. Sorry, Jeff. I'll unmute you in a couple of seconds. But anyway, Here's another thing about Alita that I wanted to bring up because you know, this person that or this it's not a person actually. Toji is kind of like he's the head of the space karate. Uh, what is it, Angelus? You and Dan probably know the Space Karate Guild or something like that, whatever they called it. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's pretty potent. You know, he's a big guy too. He himself is like 3 meters tall or more. He could be even 4 meters tall. I'm not sure how big he was. The thing
Alita's like a doll to him.
yeah, that's right. Alita's a little bitty girl, you know, compared. She's like 4'11" or something like that, and he's this is a guy that's anywhere from 9 to 12 feet tall, and she beats him. You know, I mean that you know it's pretty amazing. You know, see the thing about what makes this important was that she, you know, size of an opponent doesn't scare her one bit. You know, it doesn't. She just loves to fight. You know, I mean, she kind of backs off of that a little bit during Last Order, where she kind of wants to fight everything that moves. I guess in the earlier, you know, I guess manga or something like that.
She does
But
pick it back up again with Imaginos
yes,
2.0. Yeah.
yes, she does. That's right. And it's like to her, it's kind of like it's like a, it's like someone who practices martial art loves how to spar. You know, they love to do it. You know, I mean, that's kind of what her thing is, I guess. There, and of course, here she beats Toji. So I mean, and she's 4'11", and he's like anywhere from 9 to 12 feet tall. So I mean, you know, that's going to be the fact that she is not intimidated by raw size like that is going to mean that, you know, Steppenwolf is you know, as fearsome as he looks and as tall as he is, that's not going to have any effect on her whatsoever. Okay, now Steppenwolf. Now this kind of goes to what Jaya was saying a while ago, is that whether or not that armor can be pierced or not. And the answer is yes, that armor can be pierced. You know, I mean, you can see there's a bunch of those Amazon's arrows that are sticking in his armor. Now, I don't think those arrows are any kind of mythical weapon or something like that. I mean, I think they're probably they're big arrows, you know, and they're shot from, you know, from warriors that are, you know, have really strong bows. They probably got a high impact energy and stuff like that, you know.
Are we
But I
talking
don't.
about composite bows and whatnot?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, like a composite bow. That's right, and maybe even stronger. But the essential point is that armor can be penetrated, as you can see. Okay, because he's got a bunch of arrows. Now, I will say this for him: those arrows didn't, you know, they didn't kill him. You know, I mean, you know, there was one scene where he stood up and he kind of flexed his muscles, and he kind of, you know, it kind of his armor reacted to it, and all the arrows broke off. Kind of like that scene Den in 300 where Leonidas has all those arrows in his shield and he breaks them off, you know, in front of the Persians, you know, to kind of scare them, you know.
Yeah.
But he did the same thing. He stood up and kind of flexed his muscles and his armor, and all the arrows just kind of broke off, you know. So, but that armor can be pierced. There's no doubt about that. You know. Now the thing about the Amazons. Now you know we saw where Alita won 2 out of 3 fights. You know, with Gruishka, she completely destroyed the Centurions, and she also beat Toji in the Zot in the finals. You know, so you know, so she that kind of establishes her abilities here. Now with Steppenwolf right here. Now he's initially when he went on Themyscira and he was going after one of the mother boxes. We lost. We lost Jeffrey. Anyway, yeah, he might have just dropped off because he got in a dead spot. But anyway, you know what happened? You know, he wasn't fighting all of the Amazon army at the same time here. There was probably maybe 8 to a dozen warriors that he was fighting at the beginning, and they kind of got him all strapped down like that. But he's so strong that he literally pulled him through the rider and one of the horses. He threw them over his head, you know, like that, from the ropes that he was being, they were trying to bind him with, and he did beat those probably 8 to 10, maybe 12 Amazon warriors to get to the mother box. Now, when the rest of the Amazons started showing up, he got the fuck out of Dodge, is what he did, because there was like thousands of them. He wasn't going to beat them. But the idea was though that he did beat those several of those Amazon warriors. And Amazons, in mythology, they're pretty potent warriors. I mean, they're excellent fighters. They're trained in war and stuff like that. So they're not pushovers by any means. And he was able to beat them. Okay. And then there's the Justice League. In the theatrical cut, he was kind of beaten up on the Justice League, until Superman arrived. It was a little bit different in the Snyder cut. I mean, I think they were, he might have had a slight edge, perhaps, but what they did was they had Superman show up, relatively earlier, not early, but earlier than they did in the theatrical cut. And so he was busy fighting Superman at that point. But I would say the Justice League in the Snyder cut was giving him all he wanted, and he was giving them all they wanted too. But to me, it kind of, now I could be wrong about this, and if anybody knows, I mean, go ahead and put it in the chat, or you can jump on the stream. I think they were pretty much fighting to a draw. Whenever Steppenwolf versus the Justice League. Now, when Superman showed up, it was a different story. Superman in both the theatrical and the Snyder cut, Superman was beating the crap out of Steppenwolf. Of course, Superman can beat the crap out of just about anybody. But I think it's not so much that Alita is comparable to Superman, because she isn't. Superman's much more powerful than Alita is. But the thing that I took away from that particular fight, particularly in the Snyder cut, was Superman was able to burn off with his heat vision one of Steppenwolf's horns. I mean, he literally just burned it off. Now, we don't know how hot Superman's, heat vision is compared to Alita's plasma weapon. My sense is they're probably in the same ballpark, maybe. Now, Alita can't project, plasma out of her eyes like Superman can project his heat vision. But my sense is that, that plasma is hot. So if Superman can burn off one of his horns with that heat vision, I get the feeling that Alita could probably chop him with that plasma weapon and do some serious damage to him.
Now, I mean, I'm not saying that Alita's plasma is as hot as the sun, because of course plasma can burn at different temperatures, but to give it perspective, I mean, that's what the sun is.
Yes.
You heat gas up to a ridiculous degree, and that's what plasma is. So we know that plasma is hotter than most things that you would find in a typical situation on Earth.
Well, it's actually the fourth state of matter. It's so hot that the gas is ionized. That's how hot that sucker is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's much hotter than things that you would find in your most isn't like a welding torch plasma. Like one of those, I think it's acetylene or something like. I don't know. I'm not a fucking welder, so I don't know.
I don't think it is, but they do have arc plasma welding.
There's like
tools. And that'd be similar to what Alita has. But they even those have different temperatures. So it depends on how much energy you put into it.
Well, I'm just saying that's like the low end. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And in the high end, you're looking at fucking stars where you can feel the heat billions of miles away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I would say
the sun is very far away, and it will fucking kill you from where it is.
Yes, it will. Well, I would say that both Superman's heat vision and Alita's plasma is probably not as hot as maybe the interior of the sun. Now, it may be as hot as part of the chronosphere, or it may be as hot as the inherent temperature of the sun, which is like 5,800 degrees Kelvin or something like that. I can't remember exactly, like from my old astronomy days. But anyway, it's freaking hot, and my thought was if Superman can injure Steppenwolf, with that heat vision, then Alita can probably injure him with her plasma weapon. Plus, another thing, there was one scene, and a spoiler alert, there's one scene in the Justice League where, and I won't give the whole thing away because some folks maybe haven't seen it yet, but there was one scene where Wonder Woman, she had that God Killer sword, and she was able to, really inflict some serious damage. I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to mess it up. But on Steppenwolf, and that thing didn't even have any kind of plasma associated with it, and she was able to severely injure Steppenwolf for that. So my sense is Alita can injure him, with that plasma weapon. That's just my thought. So, Angelus, you or Dan or Kusler, you got any thoughts on that?
I did have it, but I've since forgotten it. Like I had a brain fart and now it's gone.
Because the creek runs his mouth too much, probably.
No, like because of my new job, I've learned to take lots of notes, and I'm starting to pick up that habit during streams as well. Like, because I don't want to interrupt anyone, I'd take notes, and then like once it sort of quietens down, I'd find an avenue and interject myself then, and much like I did earlier when I was asking Den the questions, for example. But like I said, I just had a brain fart, didn't take notes, and now I've forgotten.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll get it back.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you think?
About Wonder Woman's sword?
Yeah, Wonder Woman's sword plus Superman's heat vision being able to injure Steppenwolf, and do you think how is that comparable to Alita being able to injure him? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Wonder Woman's a god, though, isn't she?
Well, she ain't. She's close to it. She's a
because Wonder Woman's a god and Superman's a god. So I don't know. Just from hearing that, I would think that would be more an Imaginos Alita's level. But then at the same time, Cyborg isn't a god, right? I don't know much about DC, by the way, so I'm just making shit up right now. So, but I don't know. Maybe it's plausible. Yeah, why not?
What about it, Kusler? What do you think?
So, I don't know too much about DC, and obviously I haven't been in for like the entire stream. I got like cut off at some point. So, is Steppenwolf the character that was in the first the first Justice League?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, no. We're actually I'm sorry. No, we're actually keying mostly off the Snyder cut, not the. I mean, there are some similarities in the two, but the Snyder cut is more realistic to me. I mean, if you can make science fantasy realistic, I mean, but I there was a lot of things about the theatrical release I really didn't like, but
it's I guess for me it's kind of hard to see the very kind of science based, even if it's science fiction, it's like more science than fiction of Alita to be with the more fiction than science of DC. So it's kind of hard to correlate them and to say, oh yeah, Alita could injure that character. It's really kind of hard to say because it's more so about how powerful the character is, not the actual type of weapon they're using. It's more so.
I think so.
Well, I'm gonna slightly disagree there because this is what I dislike about superhero stuff. I'm going to agree and slightly disagree. One of the reasons why I don't really get into superhero stuff is not because it's bad or anything, but because it doesn't do power scaling as much. It's harder to power scale, like they go on more of just like you watch Avengers, right? This guy has this ability, which defeats this ability, which defeats this ability. Yeah. It's not necessarily like Dragon Ball, where it's like Dragon Ball goes on like I can lift 100 pounds. I can lift more than the guy who lifts 50 pounds. That's power scaling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Justice League DC doesn't really do that. it's not power scale. Like really, there's Superman and then there's everyone else. You know what I mean? And then they all just have like varying abilities. You know what I mean? And somehow Batman's still relevant. Where say something like say a Dragon Ball, Batman wouldn't have any place in the battlefield because, like I said, there's like a logic to it. There's like a linear scale and a logic to it. So I think that's one of the things that makes it hard to try to figure out how Alita stacks up to someone like to Steppenwolf. You know what I mean? Because in Alita's universe, it's a shonen. Well, it's kind of a shonen. They say it's a seinen, but it's heavily based on shonen and shonen rules. And in shonen, there's power scaling. So with Alita's universe, there's power scaling. You know, Alita Imagine those 2.1 is stronger than Alita in her berserker body, and like you know that for sure. Whereas in DC, there's not like a linear power scale, so that's why it's hard to figure out. You know.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of agree with you and also kind of disagree. Kind of like what you were saying about the superheroes. You know, they're in. Certainly, I agree from the fact that for one thing, they're in drastically different universes. So that adds on to difficulty to try to figure out who can injure who. But my point is this: you know, I see Superman's heat vision, and you know, I see Alita's plasma weapon. You know, and to me, you know, I mean, now you have to assume something. Here's where I'm going to kind of agree, because we don't have that kind of power scaling there. But to me, if you assume that plasma weapon that she has, or that plasma that she can generate, is even maybe a third as powerful as Superman's heat vision, she can hurt Steppenwolf. And her Damascus blade, which is, you know, as Zapan said, was honed to a monomolecular edge. It could cut armor like butter, you know. Then and that Wonder Woman, by the way, who is a goddess, no doubt, in more ways than one, I might add, you know, was able to injure Steppenwolf very badly with that sword she had. Then my thought is, okay, even if Alita's sword is only, say, a third or a half as powerful as Wonder Woman's sword, she still should be able to injure Steppenwolf. You know, and that's kind of what I was going with. Whether or not you think about them as gods or not, you know, that's why I think that maybe there is some comparability there. Anyway, the creek ran his mouth more than. Anyway, sorry about that. So, okay. Any more thoughts about any of these fights? Any of these two characters? Now, like I know Angelus, I know Dan and Kunstler don't know a lot about DC. Do you know much about Steppenwolf?
Not outside what's already been shown.
Yeah, that's another thing that makes it tough, you know, because he's not a well-known character, I guess. In DC, he is. There's no doubt about it.
I thought he was someone's butler. Like when I first heard, Steppenwolf is gonna be the fucking butler, like Mr. Buttersworth and Steppenwolf and Alfred. Like, what the fuck is that?
No. He's Darkseid's uncle, is what he is, really.
Oh, so he's some guy's uncle then. I mean, that's better, I guess.
I don't know what that means in terms of power. You know, he is a general in Darkseid's army. So I mean, you know, and I will say, I will give him this too, as a, you know, as a being, he's probably got as strong as Thanos is without any of the stones. So he probably is that, you know.
No, he did actually. I'm not gonna lie though. I'm talking shit about Steppenwolf, but I'm not the biggest superhero fan, but I did watch the Snyder cut, and he was pretty dope in that one. I have zero memories of the original cut. I don't know. Yeah. I remember he had like dog lips or something. You know how dogs have like those black things?
I didn't like that shit either.
You know what I mean? But
yeah, I do.
I do think he was pretty cool in the whatchamacallit, in the Snyder cut. I thought they gave him a lot of gravitas and stuff.
Yeah. I like that character in the Snyder cut much better than I liked him in the theatrical release, for sure. He looks badass in the Snyder cut.
Yeah, they definitely did a good job with them.
Yeah,
in that one. So I know I'm talking shit, but I'm not gonna lie though. When I first heard about Steppenwolf, I was like, "What?"
Is it banned? Is it the band?
Yeah, you know, like
yeah,
some
Yeah.
German guy. I don't know.
yeah, whatever. Welcome,
Good.
Maxie.
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Good day, mate.
G'day.
Well,
Good day.
I'll just realize the time. I've like I said, I got work
Okay.
later tonight, so I'll bow out and Maxie can replace me as the Aussie on the stream.
The Aussie
Yeah,
on
but
the screen.
I'm your antithesis, man. I'm the no pineapple guy. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
It's
I
like
had
the dark
pineapple
side
pizza.
and the light side.
Well,
I
you got
had-
to bring balance to the force.
Yes.
So
Balance
Well,
to the
Angelus,
pizza.
I had pineapple pizza today, so that's
I'm going to
Oh,
order that
Freaky.
for lunch tonight.
yes. Oh boy.
All right, but yes, catch you guys later and film those sequels, baby.
You betcha.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, there, Miss Andrew. Angelus, we'll see you.
Well,
Okay.
you know, you and Angelus can have the
pineapple.
the pizza side of the force because I've given up pizza.
The force. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So anyway, what we've done, Maxie, so far is we've kind of looked at Steppenwolf, you know, at his abilities and who he was and all that. And Steppenwolf's kind of a linear character, really, I think. Well, Dan, you could probably disagree since you saw I say linear. I don't mean he's can only do one thing. He's not like Thanos. You know, Thanos' power changes drastically depending on how many stones he has. You know, well, Steppenwolf doesn't do that. He doesn't have any Infinity Stones, so he doesn't have various levels of ability. You know, he is what he is. You know, but he is badass, no doubt about it. And then, of course, we went over Alita's doll body, berserker body, and then Maginot's body. So.
Well, you don't get to be a major bad guy for thousands of years and destroy planets if you're not pretty hardcore.
Exactly. Exactly. You got to be badass. Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about the scenarios here. Okay, Alita in her doll body fighting Steppenwolf, you know, without his axe. So he doesn't have his axe here. He's just unarmed. Okay. The Creek thinks Alita's up against it here. I think Steppenwolf's going to win this, you know. Now, I do think Alita can beat him, you know, because he is flesh and blood. And if she either gets an axe kick on his head somehow. Now, we don't know how durable he is. I mean, it's kind of tough, but I'm assuming that if she can break metal, if she, take off Derwishka's arm, she at least ought to be able to injure Steppenwolf, with an axe kick on the head. Or, as Jeff, I guess, brought up last couple of weeks ago, if she gets she rams her hand in his eye, that's going to have a big effect on him. Now that's going to be hard to do. I mean, because he's a great fighter. He's a super good melee fighter, So I think if Alita fights him in her doll body, I think he's going to win. That's because I mean he was fighting all the Justice League, and they were giving each other all they wanted. As a matter of fact, I think the Justice League might have been beating him a little bit, but he was holding his own fairly well. In the Snyder cut, that is. In the theatrical cut, he was winning. I mean, he actually beat them. He was beating on them pretty good, as a matter of fact. Until Superman showed up. So anyway, any thoughts about this one?
I think you're underestimating him.
Probably, maybe.
I think in the doll body, it'd be more like 95% Steppenwolf.
Well, I'm basing this on the fact that when we were talking about him fighting, her fighting Thanos, we gave Thanos an 80% chance of winning Alita against her in the doll body. So I don't think Steppenwolf is quite as good a fighter, and he may be as strong. I mean, he's in the same general, in the ballpark with him, But I think Thanos might have the edge on him somewhat. So that's where I'm coming up with that 70%. But okay.
Yeah, I think you're overestimating the doll body. I mean, all they have to do,
well, if he grabs her, he can pull her apart.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
just like discombobulate.
Yeah, but even that though, she could still ram her hand in his eye, even if he pulls her apart and he gets her hand. she gets her hand in his eye and grabs a hold of his brain. Somehow he's dead. So I think I don't want to underestimate her ability in the doll body.
I don't think that Alita's battle against Gruishka in the underworld is a good representation of their fighting abilities in those bodies, because Gruishka was being an arrogant prick, and that changed things a lot. That gave her an opening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was kind of hulking over her a little bit, wasn't he? He was kind of, he's just kind of swaggering over or something like, I got you, and all that shit. And then she rams her hand in his eye.
From what I know of Steppenwolf, I don't think he'd bother with that. He'd just tear into and walk away.
Probably. Now, but.
Are you kidding me? He'd pull the whole ceiling down.
He'd do what now?
He would pull it all. He would just pull the ceiling down like he did with the laboratory over in I believe it was Gotham City. He just pulled it all down, and Aquaman,
Yes.
just conveniently got there to stop the wave of water, but he just collapsed the whole thing. He doesn't care if he destroys stuff. He gets he destroys his enemy. He wins.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a vote for maybe that should be 95%.
Yeah, I think that Steppenwolf, he's been destroying worlds and fighting for thousands of years. Gruishka hasn't. Gruishka's a little bit of a noob compared to Steppenwolf.
Well, I'm just saying Steppenwolf is very going right at the throat when he wants to kill somebody.
Yeah.
He
doesn't mess around.
Yeah.
Like Gruishka does. Yeah.
Yeah. Gruishka likes to torture people.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't see Steppenwolf doing that. I think he'd just kill him.
Yep.
But I still think Alita could win. I think she'd be up against it, though. I don't think.
That's why it's 95, not 100.
Yes.
There's always that rare opportunity that she would take advantage of if she found
what we call in the sports world an upset. Yeah. Okay. Now here's what I think: Alita and her berserker body versus Steppenwolf. Now, folks are going to be surprised at this one. I think Alita's going to win this one, but barely. The reason why I think she does, excuse me, is because she's faster than he is, and she has that plasma weapon. And I think she can cut him, and he's not going to be able to react. He's not fast enough to contend with her speed. Even if she's moving at just 125 miles an hour, which was her average speed, I guess, in the factory, if she's moving at supersonic speed, he ain't going to come close to contending with that. Now, he can still win. Once again, if he gets a hold of her, he can pull her apart, just like Thanos would be able to do, But if she grabs her, she can still use that plasma weapon on him, even then, The real question is, though, will that armor withstand the plasma? I don't really know. I'm just going on the assumption of, Superman's heat vision, and of course Wonder Woman's sword being able to inflict damage on him. And there's no way of knowing if her sword with a plasma weapon is the same power. I just have to I just assume it is, or at least is in the same ballpark, And of course, I think that Alita's got all that uwu going for her, so I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. You guys agree with that?
I'm gonna just say experience matters.
Yeah.
But speed matters too. If you can't hit it, you can't hurt it.
Yeah, but how fast or slow is Steppenwolf? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. But I know that he was standing.
He was
slower
slower
than
than the
Superman,
Amazons,
right?
but he could still hit them. Same with the Atlanteans.
Well, then you're not,
he's
you're not
knocked
that
away
much
rows
slower.
of Amazons with an axe. Come on.
Yeah,
but
you're not that much slower then. So he's still pretty fast, because the Amazons are all as strong as Wonder Woman, right? Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah,
maybe. But here's
They're
the
all
thing: those
superhuman, though.
Amazons weren't moving at hypersonic speed either, supersonic speed. She
I don't
can
know because
move.
I mean, isn't
Yeah.
Wonder Woman comparable to Superman in many ways? Because the cartoon I saw
Yeah.
growing up, she was.
Yeah.
See, in many ways, plus she can somewhat resist magical stuff. I mean,
Plus,
magic, like a magic bullet would just pierce Superman's skin like it's a normal bullet. That's
in that
the way-
same movie too, didn't she do a whole like a bullet time kind of sequence? And then if I remember correctly, so that's hypersonic if
Yeah.
you're out there faster than bullets, because bullets are easily supersonic.
Well, that terrorist was firing that automatic weapon at those people, and she was blocking every single
Yeah,
bullet.
that to me is
insane.
probably getting into hypersonic territories because you have to have the reaction speed to cut off the bullet. You see what I'm saying? You're not moving as fast or slightly faster than
the bullet.
You're moving orders of magnitude faster than the bullets in order to be able to do something like that.
And thinking that bullet was probably traveling, or those bullets was probably traveling at least 2,500 feet per second, and she was blocking every single one of them.
If it's a rifle round like 5.56, that's about right. 2,500, 3,000 feet per second.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Wonder Woman's extremely fast, you know. So,
yeah. So if Steppenwolf's able to stay somewhat near that, he's fucking fast too.
Well, he's not quite that fast, so he's not hypersonic, you know. I think
maybe not, but he's still pretty fucking fast. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in the sound, if I count myself near the same realm as you say in Bolt, I'm still faster than like 90% of the Earth.
Well,
you know
here's the thing: like Den was like when you go into Volume 7 of Battle Angel Alita, Den was overall slower than Alita, but Alita noticed that he can like essentially anticipate where you're going to be. So even if he's slower, he can still like calculate where you're going to be at a certain point and hit you anyways.
Yeah. Den's actually a pretty good analogy, I guess, because he's a warrior as well. I don't think that doll body Alita would be able to stand against Den. I'm sorry. Den is pretty fucking
doll body Alita wouldn't know.
So yeah, doll body Alita, I don't think she'll stand anywhere near Steppenwolf. I think it would be a wash. Yeah. She'd be obliterated. Because experience itself, I mean, the fact that he was able to fight that many Amazons means that he knows something. He knows how to get around he knows his weaknesses.
Well, not only that,
it's hard to exploit someone's weaknesses if they are very aware of them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like me, I understand that my cardio was something that I used to suffer compared to other people back when I used to spar Muay Thai all the time. So a lot of times I'd shell up a lot. You see what I'm saying? And let them get tired. Now we're on the same level. I understand my weakness. So Steppenwolf understands his weakness to the point to where he's able to fight many Amazons like that. And I think that one doll body Alita is not going to find very much to exploit.
No, but Berserker Alita could though.
Yeah, once she gets up to the higher bodies, then she's
then she's got a chance.
She's starting to get more of a chance. She's starting to even the odds. Put the percentage, because remember, fighting is just it's different percentages. There's no 100% win for any person on this goddamn planet. And she's starting to stack the percentages more in her favor. The higher she goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Imaginos Alita versus Steppenwolf. Let me tell you something, folks. You can all argue about this one if you want to. This is what the Creek thinks. Alita's going to win this one easy.
I think it depends on where she is. So, is Mars Chronicle Alita in the Imaginos body? That's a question we should ask. Because in Mars Chronicle, it does seem like she was depowered. Now, we know a big reason why she was extremely powerful in the Zot tournament was because she was surrounded by nanobots, which she has complete manipulation over. So, because remember, Erica's pretty fucking strong. Like, Erica's ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, I think that Alita at the end of the Zot, when Tunpo's there and everything, would be able to beat Erica had Erica shown up there in the Zot ring. Yeah. However, when they meet on Mars, you see that Alita's struggling with Erica. Yeah. So we got to answer the question of whether or not that's the Imaginos body, and if the Imaginos body has different advantages depending on where she is and what the environment is. Talking about nanobots.
This body right here, that's the Alita that's fighting him. That's in the Zot.
Yeah, well,
what I'm saying is
there kind of a price tag there.
Is there a disadvantage if she's not in an area that has so many nanobots around? That's what I'm saying. So it'd be if that is a factor to take place. Let's just say that Steppenwolf shows up there. I think that she obliterates him. But if that advantage, if what I'm talking about is a real thing, then say she goes to Steppenwolf's time and fights him on Earth, then we don't know.
No, in the rules of engagement up at the beginning, I said that they would both fight with their natural abilities and what they had. So, I mean, that's kind of what I set up there. In other words, I didn't try to transfer one to one universe and the other to the other one. I just said, okay, they're fighting with what they have now, both of them. Okay, so because I mean, we you could go on a lot of different branches on this tree. I mean, because it's kind of like I was saying at the beginning. In a fight, a fight's going to be pretty damn fluid. It's going to be chaotic as crap, and it can take a lot of turns. So that's why I kind of said, okay, well, they're both going to be fighting with what they got now. So that's kind of what I was saying there. Anyway, my main reason for thinking Alita would win this one easily is because, she's connected to the singularity, which gives her a lot of power. Plus she's still got that antimatter microreactor heart, which also gives her power. But she's also connected to Melchizedek, and Melchizedek, can predict the future. So that computer can also predict what Steppenwolf is going to do, and she can react, by getting kind of like a little foresight, like Spidey sense, if you want to think of it. Plus, I'm also assuming that this Alita and the Imaginos body can move at relativistic speed. Now, I know that's after the retcon, but still. Comments? Do you think Imaginos 2.1 Alita could beat Steppenwolf?
Better odds.
Say again?
Better odds, but I just don't know how. I have no comparison for how durable Steppenwolf is.
Yeah. Well, he was injured. I mean, certainly he is durable. There's no doubt about that. Plus, he's got all that armor. So, I mean, he's pretty tough.
I don't know. I also don't know much about Apocalypse and what their technology is, because he just had this thing that just grew over the ruins of Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Like it grew that whole creep, and that he he had Peridiums come with him, and he planted the whatever the device was, and then it grew out into this like hive.
Yeah. What do you think, Maxie?
I'm fairly much agreeing with you because of that singularity, the amount of power that she can generate, and the fact that she can regenerate so quickly. Yeah. I would expect that, he wouldn't stand much of a chance against Imaginos 2.1.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan? Dan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm editing video.
Oh, okay. You're doing a video?
Same one.
He always is.
Nice.
Whatchamacallit, Vegas is working for me, so I think that last update is actually did something right this time.
Yeah, my brother loves Vegas.
Remember I was saying that Vegas 19 I upgraded and the shit was just crashing left, like literally every 2 minutes I'm having to shut down the program and start it back up again. And that was just impossible to make any progress, but now it seems to be doing pretty well. I haven't had a single crash in the last 2 days, so we'll see.
So we can expect to see some videos coming out of you, right, Dan?
One.
Okay. You gonna put that on your 2.0 channel?
I have no idea yet.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
Okay. So anyway, what do you think? Do you think Imaginos 2.1 Alita is going to beat Steppenwolf?
Well, like I said, if we're doing this in the Zot tournament, like in that ring, in that area where she has access to the supercomputers and the nanobots and stuff like that, she blows them out. Yeah. But if she can be disconnected from that stuff, if that's what we're seeing in Mars Chronicle with her now being on even ground with Erica, and that kind of depowers her, like she loses that. You see what I'm saying? Loses a lot of those abilities because she's too far away from it or removed from it, and she fights Steppenwolf on his ground. like say where Superman and them fought him at the end, then maybe that could pose a problem, and that tilts the odds more in his, not more in his favor like a majority, but like, you know, it goes from 99% Alita to maybe 70%.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I did assume though that she had everything available to her that she did in the Zot, and of course he is what he is.
Because fighting people in certain areas is part of a tactic. You know what I mean? It's, you
Yeah.
see this in
Oh, I
war all the
agree.
time. Or, and you know, you see this like in MMA too, right? You know, you have people like I don't know, fucking the people who train in Denver, Colorado. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Alpha male, what's we'll call it, and you know they're very good at training up there in high elevation. Then you bring someone from Florida, a fighter out of Florida, and have them fight up there. You know, and who's going to win that fight most likely? You know what I mean? Who the odds?
Actually, what they do though, they train up at 12,000 feet. That's see, Denver's only like 5,280 feet, so they train at much higher elevation than even Denver. So,
but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, that's exactly what.
And the same thing with like Mexican boxers and stuff. You know what I mean? They have elevation. They have the elevation advantage, and then when you bring fighters from outside of that onto that territory, or it could be vice versa. That fighter comes down to Florida. You know, they have really good cardio. And then you know you got it's Goku versus Superman, right? You know, a lot of people assume that Goku is only going to fight Superman under the yellow sun. Goku can fight Superman anywhere in the universe. He can fight them. He can fight. If this fight went to the world of Void, where Goku had his last big fight, where there is no sun, there's nothing. It's outside of the universe, and Superman's at a severe disadvantage the longer the fight goes on, you know?
Yeah.
So where the fight takes place might have something to do with how the fight ends.
Yeah, well, I once again, I assumed that, you know, they both had everything available to them that they had in their movies. So, or in this case, the manga. So, you know, in the Zot or Alita. So, you know, that's, you know, I didn't try to vary that because I didn't want to get off into, you know, multiple scenarios like that. So, but you're right. Yeah, where you fight, you know, it's kind of like that old thing about, you know, from Sun Tzu, you know, you always want to fight from the high ground. You know, I mean, you know, you can take a small force fighting a large force, and if they got the high ground, they got a better chance. So,
or the battle at Thermopylae, you know,
that's right.
Leonidas knew that he did not have as many troops. There's no way he could fight the Persian army one-on-one, but he knew that certain tactics that the Greeks used with their hoplites would do extremely well if they closed the Persian army and basically limited the numbers that they could fight at a time. He knew that even numbers, hoplites could destroy Persian slave soldiers. So it's like, okay, well, if we make them fight on even numbers by narrowing them down, boom, we can easily
we can wear them
thousands.
down. Well, yeah, if they hadn't got behind them, yeah, you know.
Yeah, that guy. I'm glad they made him ugly in the movie. I'm glad they made him ugly. That's what your legacy should be.
Yeah, Alita Baker says, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet from Sun Tzu." I love that.
Well, actually, there was an older one. There was an older film about it, just called 300 Spartans in 1963, and they show in the 1963 film they kind of like seemed to retreat into a canyon, but because of how narrow the canyon was, the Persians could only have so wide a line going through it.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing is, the way the Greeks fought, their tactics, it's like muskets versus rifles near the end of the Civil War. You know what I mean? Like their technology was a little bit better. The focus was a little bit better.
Here's an even bigger one. There were rifles starting. They were rifles, but they were really expensive during the American Revolution. You could only have so many.
I think more private people had access to rifles as opposed to just.
It was more of a special forces type weapon.
Yeah. But yeah, what I'm saying is, you know what I mean? The Greeks, their tactics, their technology at the time knew that one-on-one, given the numbers being even, they would be able to take a lot of Persians, which is why they funneled them through the hot gates. And we all know that the movie embellishes things. I think there was like a lot of Corinthians there. There were some Athenians there. There's Thespians. I know there's Thespians there as well. We know that there's thousands. Arcadians, But for the most part, it was a small force of Greek hoplites versus a large force of Persians.
True with Marathon as well.
Yeah.
I want to run one of those soon.
Oh, cool. Good luck with that, Dan. I ran one back in 1985. Back when marathons were run, we just went barefooted.
Yeah. I'm doing consistently 10 to 13 miles now. So
nice. Okay, well, let's take a
Close
look
already.
at then the way we look at this now. The Creek thought 70%. Maxie thinks 95%. Hold that thought because we will adjust the numbers at the bottom. So anyway, but we all agree that Steppenwolf's probably going to win that fight. You know, Alita can win it, but she's going to be up against it. He's going to win that fight more than likely. The Berserker Alita beats Steppenwolf. Now, Creek thinks Alita's going to win, but it's going to be tough. I think because he is tough. He's badass, this guy, you know. But I think just the fact she's going to have a speed advantage on him, plus she's got that plasma weapon, and plus she's probably as strong as he is too, or at least in the same ballpark. So, you know, and certainly she's got Panzerkunst, so she can fight on equal terms with him on technique. So, and then last but not least, Creek thinks that Imaginos Lee is going to destroy Steppenwolf. You know, as Den points out, provided that she's in the environment, they're both in their fighting environments where they both have their advantages. Now, to Maxie's point, if you think that 70% is too low and it's 95%, if you change that to 95%, what that's going to do is that's going to bring Alita's overall win number down from 61% down to about 53, maybe 53%. So even if you give Steppenwolf a 95% win up there at Doll Body versus him, she's still probably gonna win if you combine all three. So thoughts, guys?
I think that overall they're pretty closely matched.
Yes.
I mean, she power scales, he doesn't. So, I mean, that's an advantage to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, this was kind of hard too, because you know, when you look at a movie, you can't tell if power and strength is comparable. Now, speed is different, but power and strength is comparable in both the movies. You know, so, but you know, just assuming all things are equal, then that's kind of what I came up with. You know. I know some DC fans are not going to like that with shit, but you know, sorry about that. You know, this is all for fun, so we're not. You know, I kind of agree with Maxie. I think they're going to be pretty close.
DC is a $1 billion franchise. I don't want to hear them complaining with our girl with her one movie. You know, we can see that she can beat them. Okay, you guys are going to have 1 billion movies. All right, we need to at least big up Alita at least a little bit. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, obviously, I am biased. You know, the power
You're
of
in good company.
Yeah, the power of Uwu probably drove 3 or 4% of this at least. So you know, yeah, they probably are pretty similar. You know, I do believe though that Imaginos Alita, I think she's gonna, whether she's within that, you know, in that nano machine cloud, you know, that she was in, you know, when she fought. I guess cloud is a good word. Oh, the cloud, like a network. Like she fought Toji in you know, in the finals of the Zot. But even if it's like Den says, if she fought him in his environment, I think she still wins. I agree it wouldn't be 99%. I think he would have a reasonable chance, you know, but the speed factor and the fact she's connected to the singularity and she's got that Melchizedek that's going to have a really great predictive ability of what his moves are going to be. I think she's just got way too much of an advantage, I think, in that realm. So,
and I was just basing that off of what I saw with Erica, because we don't know. I mean, maybe Max does. He seems to know fucking shit that he shouldn't even know about, you know, this franchise. I mean, Max, do you think that is the same?
I've been marinating in this franchise for 30 years, dude.
Yeah, you're like me in Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? Do you think that that's the same body that she fought Erica with as the Imaginos 2.0?
No,
it's different.
No, it isn't.
I think she's been powered down, but you know what they say, what happens on Venus stays on Venus.
Yeah.
So I reckon she was probably captured somehow.
Yeah.
And powered down.
I mean, in the lore, the Berserker cells were invented on Venus, and then they were stolen and then used to create the Berserker bodies on Mars. And I would think that the technology, those sorts of cellular cybernetic technologies, would be well understood by the Venusians. And if Alita was sent down there and they had some way of, I know they have a way of neutralizing Berserker cells, but if it could be modified to neutralize Imaginos cells, then I think that Alita probably was depowered down there. And we don't even know, because they have Koshiro hasn't been continuing the current timeline. He's been doing all the back stuff.
He said he'll continue on the story when I drop my video, So, and whenever Dragon Ball Super comes back,
I see how that works.
It's the same time as when Dragon Ball Super returns to TV, after its hiatus. So, we'll all be waiting for something.
Yeah. So anyway, we didn't see a lot of what was going on there. There wasn't enough of that arc to drop enough hints for you to get an idea of what's going on with her. But it's pretty obvious.
You would definitely say she's been powered down, though.
I reckon she's been powered down. I reckon that that gun that she's got there is her minder. It's not her friend.
I agree with that.
I'm talking about Denko. Yeah. Denko's working his own angle. He's not her slave.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that too. I think that's definitely.
He's just working with her because their mutual benefit. So.
I think they like each other, but I just think that that was something that was issued to her. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think they respect each other. I don't think there's quite like there. He's been told to protect her, but also to mind her, as in, rein her in or keep her on mission or whatever. Yeah. So I think that there is something going on there. In fact, Jaya has an interesting video about what Alita might be doing back on Mars and where that might end up. So you need to go back and check out Jaya's videos on that.
I definitely do.
Yeah. But Jaya says, drop your video, Den.
I'm so close. Like, you guys gotta understand, like, a lot of the shit was done a year ago. Like, I'm just going in and like fixing shit up and all that stuff. But I don't know. Vegas pisses me off, so whatever. Excuses.
We're gonna be watching, Den.
Terrified.
Yeah, I really liked. I've told you this before. I really liked that one video you did with Alita's love life. I really liked that video. So
well, hopefully y'all like this one too.
Okay, yes, I actually saved that video on my channel too. You still get the views,
Yeah.
But, I put it on mine too.
If I get yeeted, it's preserved somewhere. Actually, Dizzy did that too with one of my really, really, really old ones that I'll never release again. So he has something that I guess no one would see.
Now look, Dan, you've got that smooth as butter voice. You are winning to start with.
It's my smoker's voice. I actually have a really high-pitched voice, but then I started smoking cigarettes and it dropped an octave.
Is that what I've got to do? No, sorry. I'm not going to do that. I'll gargle vodka, 20 times a day before I smoke cigarettes.
I did a lot of that too.
By the way, Chaos, I'm sorry. I was over there in the presentation. I didn't know you were backstage. I didn't see you fall off there, so sorry about that.
It's okay. I was just using Safari, and apparently Safari's kind of annoying because I was trying to slide the screen over a bit, and apparently sliding the screen sends you back as a back button.
Are you on a tablet? Are you on a tablet?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, this is what the Creek thinks. Alita's going to win, but I think I agree with Maxie. It's not going to be an easy win. I think it's going to be close. They're pretty close. I think they're probably closest in ability when she's in her Berserker body, and her Imaginos body. It's not even close. I mean, and of course, in her doll body, it's not close. So it's kind of a thing like that, I guess. But I do think she's going to win. Barely.
Well, when the writers sit down at the writers' table to write this sort of stuff, The good guys usually win eventually.
Yeah, they do. And with a creek, the one that has the best uwu is going to win. So so that's the way it works. I admit
So Alita's already won in your mind. It's just
that's right. Yeah,
just got to go through the motions.
Yeah, she's going to be my niece in the year 2563. So that's the way it's going to work. So did we miss anything?
So some of your descendants better get their asses to Mars, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. They better get their butts up there. Yeah. Hell, I may go there. We'll see.
I heard it's boring.
Change your name.
I heard there's not much to do up there.
Change your name to Tiger Sour.
I'm a little scared of living too long. My father told me a joke that my head would be alive if I lived too long and not my body, and it kind of scared me.
I'm not afraid of living too long. Actually, matter of fact, we're in the age now where if that's the case, it's not going to be like fucking Futurama where you're going to be stuck in a jar. You might just have, an electronic body. You might just be a cyborg.
Yeah, that's what Creek wants.
I would high five dudes on purpose and fucking destroy their hands just because it's funny.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Well, I don't think we missed anything. See, this was a little different than the Thanos thing because, like say, Thanos has a lot of different power levels depending on how many stones he has. And it's a little, that one there was a little, required a little more effort for me, to put that together. But
well, he's a little bit easier to scale just because he's had more time on screen. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And you can scale him to Hulk and shit like that.
Yeah. Well, this guy here, I don't think he's quite Hulk level. Now we talked about this. The way they did the Hulk in the last movie, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
Disappointed.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I think Fallen Angel and Ascension did a better Hulk with a supporting character. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't think Steppenwolf is comparable to Hulk in strength. He's just not. I mean, I think he's pretty strong. He definitely is. But and it depends on what version of Hulk too. I mean, the World Breaker Hulk, he can smash worlds with a punch. Yeah,
Death Battle had a version of Hulk that was able to fight Broly from Dragon Ball, which is ungodly powerful. You know what I mean? He was able to resurrect and shit like that. So I know Hulk can get Superman strong too.
Yeah, but this guy here, he's not like that. But he is strong though. He is that. It definitely is.
Well, he has skill. That's one thing that's definitely on his side. I mean, thousands of years. The thing about Alita is that she has skill too, but she doesn't have experience. One thing I was explaining to my wife was one massive. This is very controversial to say, but it's just the fucking truth. I don't understand what the problem is. But one massive advantage that the U.S. would have in a war against China is the fact that the U.S. has been at war for the last decade plus. You get if you read Black Hawk Down, you see a lot of the younger Rangers were doing things like running up alleys, hugging the walls. And the Delta guys who have a lot of combat experience would be like, don't stay close to the walls because you're more likely to get shot when you're near a wall than you would if you were in the middle of an alley. That's something that you can only get from combat experience, not training. Rangers are highly trained, but the Delta guys had combat experience. You know what I mean? Yep. Alita's very highly trained, but she wouldn't know those tiny things like don't hug a wall because when bullets ricochet, they tend to ricochet parallel to the surface. You know what I mean?
She has that, but if an explosive goes off against the wall, that's not good.
Yeah, that's right. Because at least I think she does have experience, though, Dan. I mean, she did fight in some wars. Now, I don't think,
but not quite as much. Not thousands of years.
That's right. She don't have near the experience that Steppenwolf has.
And she's still very. Here's the thing that's been a consistent trait of Alita across the manga and the film is the fact that she's kind of brash. She's kind of impulsive when it comes. You know what I mean? She'll make tactical errors, which is why when we put her up against Master Chief before, Master Chief has been fighting for decades in war. You know what I mean? So
she is brash.
And that's the thing. Master Chief is not. Master Chief would be tactical, slow. So Alita could be faster, but Master Chief can set her up. It's kind of like, I don't know. He might retreat and drop a fucking claymore, and she steps on that and loses a leg. Who fucking? I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'm just putting something out there. You know, it's not always just if it's combat you're talking about. You know what I mean? There's that experience matters. So that is one thing that you can put on Steppenwolf's side. It's not his first time fighting someone who's fucking ridiculously strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's seen a lot of it before, basically.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't know anything about
whether or
Steppenwolf.
not the movie universe has the Black Racer, because
That's racist, man. I'm offended.
oh no.
I'm just
He's
kidding.
the populist version of like.
You think all black
really
people are fast? I will have you know I'm a very slow runner. Just like
Well, no, he's a villain that moves really fast. Like he could.
Hello? Do we lose somebody?
Do we?
It looks like he muted himself on accident.
Yeah. Chaos, you're muted, man. I'm not sure how that happened. I didn't do it. I promise.
Yeah, I think he might have unplugged his mic or something like that. I don't know.
Accidentally or something. Yeah, who knows?
But no, Jay, I did not see that College Humor video, but maybe I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard Hulk, like his most powerful versions can be compared to like Dragon Ball and Superman. Like it's really up there.
Yeah.
Which I like the Hulk.
Yeah, I do too. But Steppenwolf, he's nowhere near the Hulk in my opinion. So
No, I doubt it.
you know.
And you say that as the Marvel Hulk, right? Because I don't think the Marvel Hulk is that powerful compared to other Hulks.
Well, the Marvel Hulk,
Or the Marvel film Hulk is what I mean.
Well, the Marvel film Hulk that they had in Eric Bana's 2003 version, where he threw that tank 2 miles. That's pretty freaking insane, right there. You know? But the Hulk. Here's one thing that drives me crazy about some superhero movies. It's like, you remember that scene in the Avengers when that big, whatever that spaceship looking thing, it looks like a damn shrimp or something, it was coming down, he was chasing Iron Man, and, you know, Captain America says, Dr. Banner, don't you think you should be getting angry right now? And he said, I'm always angry. And he punched it and stopped that thing dead in its tracks. But yet, when he fought Thanos, he was not near that strong, you know? I mean,
yeah.
I really had a problem with that. You know, I guess
it's inconsistent.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because I mean, I know Thor's supposed to be really strong too, and didn't they like fight each other at one point? Like Thor's supposed to be a god. And...
Well, they fought each other a couple of times. They fought once in the Avengers and once in Ragnarok. So Thor. Ragnarok.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
That one there actually I liked. I thought it was real funny, and it had a good story to it too. So you know.
Yeah, Thor is always, when it comes to like the MCU, Thor is always a character I kind of liked. I like that guy. He seems like fun. You know, a lot of superheroes are really broody or like really up their own ass with their morals and their principles, and it's like I just hate you. You know what I mean? But Thor just seems like a fun dude. You know what I mean? He's a guy you can have a drink with.
Well,
we know Fat Thor likes console games. So.
Yeah,
Fat Thor is cool, and he can still probably kick your ass.
Yeah, Fat Thor drinks a lot of beer too.
Yeah. I'd say I like him better fat.
But I'll tell you, I liked old Thanos, and when he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, when he told Ronan, he said, you know, Ronan said he wanted him to take this matter of, you know, whatever that orb that they wanted to get, he wanted him to take it serious. He only wanted him to take it seriously, and Thanos said, the only matter I don't take seriously, boy, is you. I really thought that was funny, you know, because Ronan had his weapon, you know, that he could shoot some, you know, like some kind of pressure beam or something that kills people and all that, and that didn't scare Thanos one bit. He just said, you know, if you come back to me empty-handed again, I'll bathe the starways in your blood. That's what he said. I was, whoa, you know. So yeah, that was pretty good right there, I think.
Yeah. My wife definitely knows way more about the Marvel films than I do. She adores that. My wife can watch anything. It just really does feel like that. She can just sit and watch anything. But yeah, she definitely knows way more about that than I do. Maybe one day she can get a Creek on My Hero Academia, and you can bring them into this discussion about Alita as well.
All right.
All Might actually is legitimately a good character. I love All Might, but the rest of the characters, I'm like, no. Google All Might after we get off a stream. I think
All
you'll
right,
like
all
it too.
right. I can do that.
Max, you're familiar with that show, right? Or is that too new school, too Gen Z for you?
I think probably too Gen Z. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the new fucking hot shit, I guess. You know what I mean? Everyone's watching that, and Demon Slayer is what else he watches, and I don't know, man.
Yeah,
all the
I've
same.
got to get to Demon Slayer. I'm absolutely caught up and enamored with an anime at the moment called Steins Gate, which is
yeah, she watched that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's a complete mind fuck. It really is. I love it.
I'm gonna just say that My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer, I'm gonna get flack for this. They're the same fucking thing. It's literally just shonen. Except they flipped Goku for Gohan, and then they make him cry every episode. That is literally it. Every episode's gonna be the same. So there you go.
Jay agrees with you.
Yes, he cries way too goddamn much. And then I watched the Demon Slayer movie with my wife, and there's like 17 crying scenes. There's a scene at the end where like 3 dudes are all crying together at once, and I'm like, yo, this is too much. But what I've noticed is the Goku archetype, they've now pushed that towards a background support character, and now the Gohan archetype is the front lead character. And then the Goku archetype has to always be gone somehow. So like in the Demon Slayer movie, it was the fire guy. And then for My Hero Academia, it's All Might, which I love the Goku archetype. So I love All Might. Plus he has an American flag on him in some of his costumes. I love that shit too. So, you know. No, the last I saw was like season 2, and like he just got really fucked up, Jaya.
Okay, guys. Well, we're getting pretty. We're at 2 hours. Maxie, you want to talk about this one?
Oh yeah. Okay. So we attempted to do this a couple of weeks ago, but our special guest got caught up. Now, I suppose seeing it's only well, actually, I think we announced who it was previously, but it's Ethan Holloway, who writes for What's on Disney Plus in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be coming on, and I've seen a few of his Twitter posts, and he has some very supportive opinions of Alita. So it should be interesting to see what he thinks is going to happen with the franchise going forward, the movieverse. And of course, you know, there's obviously 2 ways it can go, but we'll see what he thinks about that. And if any of you guys want to hop on, drop me a DM if you want to talk about this. I believe who was it? Enigma Seeker is planning on coming on, but he's got something on just beforehand, so he's hoping not to be late, but we'll see if he gets there. But yeah, it should be an interesting discussion. Do you want to come on, Den, for that one?
Yeah, I'll try to.
Cool. Okay.
Me and my wife talked about doing something, but if I do come on, I'll definitely shoot you a DM for the link. Or who should I actually talk to about that?
Me or Creaky.
Either one of us will shoot you a link. By the way, Maxie, I also sent Do Not Stand By a link. He wanted to come on, so
yeah, I've got him down as a guest. So
okay, cool. Yeah.
Is he on Twitter?
Yes.
Right. I don't know if I've got him liked. I'll have to.
Yeah.
Twitter confuses me. I got 3 people following me out of the blue, and I look at their profiles to see how I might know them or they might know me, and I got no clue. Just random people following me. Okay. You're gonna get lots of elite. You're gonna get lots of Alita stuff. You're just gonna have to deal with that.
That's right. And I want to say hi to Alejandro Carmago too. He was on last week. He's been on the last couple of weeks, and we've had a lot of fun with him on there too. So.
Well, we love talking about Alita, Alejandro. I'm just replying to his text chat. So yeah, you talk to us. You're gonna hear a lot.
Yeah, you are.
I just vacuum up Alita factoids, so as Den will attest to.
I go to you for all my questions.
Right.
No worries, man. If I can't answer it, I'll send you to Jaya.
Yeah, him too. I really would like to see him on the streams more often, because that guy just knows so much about.
But he never reads his email, do you, Jaya? Jesus Christ.
I don't read email either.
He came on this stream. I mean, you know, he was
Yeah, well,
on.
that's because he must have time on a Friday night. He just drops in.
Well,
But Saturdays he's busy, I guess.
He felt sorry for Creek because at the beginning I was doing solo, you know, which you know I don't have any problem doing, you know. But he jumped on, you know, and Jaya, even though he's not how would you say, a DC expert, you know, he's pretty good. So you know.
Hey, look, I appreciate Jaya for all the videos he's put out and all the conversations he's started, and also the couple of times that I've managed to drag him kicking and screaming onto Radio Chaos. We've had a great time. So yeah, you're always welcome, Jaya, and please come back. Just drop us an email if you want to come on anytime, if you like any of the topics, and yeah, we'll get you on, man.
Yeah, we will. Anyway, this is our lady right here. The Creek's favorite actress right here for sure. And it doesn't hurt that she's pretty. So, I mean, you know, that's, but yeah, she's, you know, hopefully we get that sequel, and we definitely want Rosa to be Alita. You know, she's great. She's great in the Creek's book, that's for sure. And you guys know why this image is here, don't you? Because I like it. That's right. And I'm only here for our girl. That's what it is. And we all need Elite Army.
And the Elite Army.
And the Elite Army, yes. Exactly, Maxie. You got me.
Yeah.
So
I know your spiel. I know it backwards.
Yeah, exactly. So any last thoughts, guys? Well, I guess what we'll do then is we will terminate the old stream with our relatively new call to action, and that would be, of course, Film Those Sequels, baby. So on my count of three, let's say it. 1, 2, 3.
Film those sequels, baby.
Okay, so we'll see you guys next week, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Radio Chaos stream. Good night and good day.
Ta-ta.